What is up, and welcome to Rock Gamer, and we've got a brand new episode of DLC review for Rock Band 4. And this week I'm talking about the Aerosmith six-pack that came out. This is the second six-pack we've got from Aerosmith. The last one we got was back in January of 2013. Let's get started with our first song, Dude Looks Like a Lady. Looking at the guitar chart, I think this is one of my favorite songs of the week, largely because I'm not a great guitar player, but it's a lot of chords. There's even some fun three-finger chords thrown in. And you know what? It's so well varied and some really fun chord progressions on this song. I really enjoyed this song. I'd say recommend that you buy this song if you want a fun guitar chart. The bass, you're sort of all over the fretboard and you're playing a lot of the same notes. I would say it's a meh on the bass. The drums, I feel the same way as I do about the bass. It's a pretty standard rock beat that's been divvied up amongst the ride. You play the same beat on the toms and then on the hi-hat as well. There are some little fills thrown in here and there, but I'd say the drums are pretty mediocre. I'd say meh on this song. So the next song is a song that I'd never heard of before. This one's called Rats in the Cellar. And on guitar, it's one of the best songs of the week, I would say. It's chock full of chords with fun chord changes, tons of hammer-ons, and a guitar solo. It's super well varied, and I found it quite challenging as well. The drums, I'd say, are pretty mediocre. The first half is like a fast standard rock beat, sort of feels like a punk rock kind of beat, with this fill where you're like always going between the blue and the green crash. And then later on, it changes to like this disco beat, and it's got a lot of quick fills on the snare in the later half of the song. I'd say it's pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's great. I'd say this is probably a meh on drums, but a buy on guitar. The bass is ranked devil tier, and it's a mix of single notes with some hammer-ons and a lot of short sustains as well. There's actually a bass solo in this song, which you don't see a lot of the time. And the bass solo is pretty much just a set of hammer-ons. You sort of go back and forth amongst the fretboard. But I would say that the bass is definitely worth checking out if you want a challenging song. Next song is called Seasons of Wither. I'll admit it, I thought the song was called Seasons of Winter because I'm like, oh, these guys are from Boston. It probably makes sense. You know, you're living in Boston, it's snowing all the time. It's probably super depressing like it is in Canada. But anyways, I think this is probably the worst song of the week. It's not a bad song. It just doesn't translate very well into gameplay. Like on the guitar, it's a pretty slow, single note heavy song where you're sort of playing across the fretboard. If you do want an easier song, I would say that this is definitely one you should pick up, but I found it was a little bit boring. Not a whole lot happening at the guitar solo, even at the end of the song. The drums I found, it's like a slow ballady kind of song. It starts out with like a lot of flams and with some kick drums, and then it goes to a standard rock beat. There's some few little fills thrown in on the toms, and that's about it. I'd say even the bass is pretty dreadful too. Lots of sustains that you'll be playing, and the chorus does speed things up a bit, but I'd say altogether just avoid this song if you want challenging music. The next song is Cryin', and this one I have to say is another one of my favorites on guitar. It's very well varied. It's got a very long outro solo, which is great for freestyle solos. And it's one of the easier songs of the week, but I had a blast playing it. It's like a good mixture of a lot of single notes as well as some chords thrown in as well. Definitely recommend you buy it. The drums, I had a lot of fun on the drums. Even though the drums have a pretty standard rock beat, what they do is they add in like these little triple hits on the ride, coupled with like a lot of crash hits. But my favorite part of the song on drums are the big monstrous tom fills. Like you'll be going through like so many different tom fills, and then I just had so much fun playing those. Definitely recommend it. And it's got two drum solos on the drums as well, mostly towards the end of the song. And it's almost like those two drum solos could just be combined into one huge solo. They're pretty easy, but I still had a lot of fun on them. Definitely recommend you buy the song on the drums. I'd say the bass is the worst instrument on this song. I just found it really repetitive in certain parts, and it was just kind of slow. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It wasn't as fun as the guitar or the drums. This next song is called Eat the Rich. I never really heard of it before, but this one surprised the hell out of me on guitar. Insanely difficult guitar part. As you can see here, tons of hammer-ons and pull-offs. There's some really fun guitar solos. It's definitely one of the hardest songs of the week. If you want a challenge, definitely recommend you buy this song. The drums have a pretty standard rock beat throughout. It starts with that tribal beat you hear at the beginning, and before even playing the song, you're like, this sounds like a really hard thing to play on drums, and then the way they charted it just seems really weird. It's just not that difficult to play, and I feel like they could have added more variety to the beginning of that part. And then, when you're playing the standard rock beat later on in the song, they've got like crash notes thrown in like every couple hits. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. There's some snare roll fills in there, but it's really not a great song on drums. I'd say it's pretty meh on drums. The bass is pretty fun except for the sustains. The sustains just completely ruin the song for me. Like you're having fun playing bass, all of a sudden these sustains come out of nowhere and you're like, oh great, it slows everything down, it brings it to a grinding halt. But still, I'd say the bass is a good buy if you're looking for a challenging song. It's got this fun little green note part where you're playing home bass on the green, and then you reach out and play the orange, and you play a little bit of the red. Overall, I'd say this is a solid song. Definitely pick it up if you want some fun challenging songs to play. Final song of the week is Love in an Elevator. I'd say on the guitar it's on the easier side, but it's still really fun. There's a good mix of single notes and two finger chords. There's even 3 guitar solos on this song, and if you're a fan of the freestyle solo mode, definitely recommend you guys check this song out. I did find certain parts of it a little repetitive, but overall I'd recommend you buy it. The drums, I'd say the beginning is pretty boring and standard. It's got a pretty standard, beat to it. But then what happens is you'll be playing like a standard pattern on the ride, and all of a sudden you'll be playing like this shuffle pattern, which is super hard to master. Like it totally screwed me up. And then after you get past that ride pattern, like the last 40 seconds is where things get even more fun. You'll be playing a lot of different, fills on the snare, some fun tom hits all around the kit. But the problem is like it's sort of an uneven song on drums. Like the first half's not very good, but then the shuffle pattern is really fun, and then the outro of the song is really good. I'd say it's like a between a muh and a buy, but if you like the song anyways, I'd recommend you buy it. Looking at the bass, there's some really fun riffs that are on this song, but they're a little bit way too repetitive. Like they take the same riff and you're just going to play it over and over again. And I sort of felt like it's unbalanced, kind of like the drums. I'd say this is a muh on bass. That does it for this week's reviews. I want to thank you guys for watching. And don't forget, Guitar Hero Live is out today, guys. So I've done a huge number of videos on my channel, everything from the song list on the game to unboxing. I've even compared the instruments to the Rock Band 4 instruments to show you guys how they look in terms of size and functionality. So thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you subscribe for the latest Rock Band 4, Guitar Hero Live, and Amplitude news. Take care.